Recording. Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Megan Miller.
And Joe Smith.
And this is We'll Decide Wednesday. I'm going to go ahead and spin our wheel. I did add one topic, 2021 conferences. Ashley or Liz, if either of you have suggestions for topics, our wheel is very small right now. We need more topics, so let us know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and spin it. All right. Favorite childhood memory. I think you went first last time, Joe, so I'll go first. But can you do the timer for me?
Yes, I can. All right.
And then Ashley and Liz and anyone watching us on Facebook Live, if you want to chime in on the chat or when Joe and I finish, feel free to share your favorite childhood memory too. You ready, Joe?
One more second, and then I'll be ready. All right.
This is a really hard one. I don't think I've thought about this a whole lot. I think probably it's going to Cedar Point, which is an amusement park up in Ohio, in Sandusky, Ohio. We would go pretty much every summer, but it's definitely, I think my favorite memory of going there was my brother and I, we went with my cousins. And I think it was either our first or second time going, and the Magnum was the new ride. It was supposed to be break record, it broke all these records, and it was the most amazing roller coaster ever. And we were only 8 or 9 or something, and Jason was scared to go on it, but then when my cousin was pressuring him to go, he finally rode it or whatever. So I think it must have been our second time going, because the first time he wouldn't go on it. But we had such a fun time there at Cedar Point, and spending time with family that I didn't really get to see very often. And then that night, this is so weird, I don't know why this is a favorite memory for me, but we were listening to American Pie came on the radio, and my one cousin, it's my mom's cousin, so they were older. And there's a store in Podunk, Piqua, Ohio called the Buckeye Mart. And he insisted that was in the lyrics of American Pie. And this was back in the day when you couldn't, just Google lyrics, right? So we were calling radio stations super late at night, midnight, trying to get them to play American Pie so we could see if it said Buckeye Mart. And I don't know why, that's just such a favorite memory. I think it's because we got to stay up late and I got to spend time with my family, and I got to go on roller coasters that I love. So yeah, I think that's probably my favorite. Joe, how much time do I have left?
30 seconds.
Okay. I think I can just stop there. I don't have time to share another memory. So.
All right. Done. All right. That was awesome. I love Cedar Point, by the way. But what's funny is Megan said that the Magnum was the newest ride. For me, when I went, the newest ride was the Mantis.
Okay.
That's the one that you stand up on and it drops.
Yeah. We went, every time a new one would come out, Millennium Force was probably the most, the most excitement around. And that was when I was graduating high school in 2000. That was the big 2000 roller coaster. But my favorite one there at Cedar Point is Top Thrill Dragster. But it's such a, it only takes 60 seconds and you wait in line so long, but you sit there and it goes from 0 to 120. So you just go super fast. And then it spins and then it comes back down and it just shoots back and forth a couple times, but it's so much fun.
I will say though, that I think the Raptor is the coolest. I love the Raptor. Yeah.
Anyway, Liz or Ashley, do you all like roller coasters? Have you ever heard of Cedar Point?
I have. I'd like to go one day.
It's been kind of hard though for me because growing up with it, every amusement park I've been to since then, I'm yeah, what are these things? These are not roller coasters. I don't think.
Yeah,
so.
They look really intense.
Yeah, the only one that competed was I went to Ferrari World in Abu Dhabi, and they had some similar rides to Cedar Point. They had one of the ones that slingshots you. I think that one is actually the one that goes 0 to 120. I don't think Top Thrill Dragster hits 120. But anyway, Liz, you look like you don't like roller coasters. Like you want to throw up or something.
I really, really do. But like
Oh.
I did like, but ever since and I don't know if this sounds weird or not, but ever since I became a mom, like my like adventureness like went out the window. Like
Oh.
scary stuff. Like I remember once I tried to get my husband to go skydiving, and I was all about it, and he wouldn't do it. We talked about it the other day, and I was like, I would never do that now. And I don't know what happened to me. Like
You're like, I don't want to leave this human.
yeah, like I'm so scared.
That's funny. My mom said hello. She's putting Taylor to bed for me because they're staying at the condo with me. Thank you, Mom. And Joshua said, I love how many people's favorite memories have to do with their parents' night off nights, quick meals, and a TV show or something. All right, Joe, you're up.
All right. So let me start my timer. I have 3 hours to talk. I'm just kidding. I'm not 3 hours. All right. So my favorite childhood memory was when I went to Philmont Scout Ranch in New Mexico for 14 days.
Oh, wow.
It was absolutely amazing. It was like a 3-week trip for like my troop that went. So I got to like go off and do something fun for 3 weeks without my parents. And it was absolutely like the best thing ever. So of course, so like we went from Pennsylvania all the way to New Mexico, but on our way there, we would stop at different places. So we would stop at Indianapolis Speedway. We stopped at Colorado Springs and visited the Air Force Base out there and got to tour. We went to Pikes Peak, got to tour that. My lack of judgment on that trip for not getting a pair of pants was not wise, because when we went up to the top of Pikes Peak, remind you, this is back in June, July, okay? The top of Pikes Peak was snow covered. It was that cold.
Wow.
And I didn't have a pair of pants or sweatshirt. So yes, I was cold. I had like 5 shirts on, like t-shirts, just to keep myself warm. It was ridiculous. But after that, then we went to New Mexico. We stayed at the Philmont Scout Ranch. We went backpacking through the country for 14 days. I didn't get a shower until day 8, which was that shower was so cold, but it was so amazing. I got to fire shotguns, go fly fishing. I got to campfire songs. I got to see fireworks on top of Mount Phillips, which was awesome because it's the tallest peak in New Mexico. And you could see fireworks on top of the mountain from like 4 other states around you. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, being out in the wilderness, exploring, seeing amazing, beautiful sights I would never get to see anywhere else. It was one of the best experiences in my life. So yeah, that was fun. And my time's up.
That sounds like such a cool trip. How old were you?
I was 14.
Nice. When you first started talking, I was like, oh yeah, I went to camp. And then you kept going and I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
This is so
yeah.
different.
So like our longest hike in a day was about 15 miles to go from one location to another. You're also higher up in elevation, so you have less air to breathe. So it's harder to breathe. And I'm a slow hiker anyways. I like to take my time and, explore the views and everything. Where I had a couple of friends of mine that are like speed walkers, like they like to speed hike. And that was really difficult for us to get on the same page on how to hike and like how fast we needed to go.
Yeah.
So definitely eye-opening. We were safe. We didn't have any grizzly bear attacks, but there was one the night after we were at Mount Phillips. There was a grizzly bear attack up there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
No,
it was
thank you.
it was amazing. It was scary, but also at the same time it was like invigorating just be doing something completely off the grid.
Yeah, that's so cool. Liz or Ashley,
yeah.
do either of you want to share your a favorite childhood memory?
I agree with you. It's hard for me to even think of something. I'm not sure.
It's just one of those things where like I know I did a lot of cool things, but it's hard. So the first thing that came up for me. What about you, Liz?
Yeah, I definitely don't think that I can go for 3 minutes if that's the
No,
time
just if
limit?
there's anything you want to share is fine.
Okay. I did an activity group this week where we had to talk about ourselves for a certain amount of time, and
Oh
it
gosh, that
was
sounds
painful.
stressful.
So it was. And then another person had to actually like listen to you and then retell your story and your 3-minute story in 1 minute. So I'm having some flashbacks right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just thinking back to my childhood, and I guess I had a brother that was 2.5 years. I still have him at 2.5 years younger than I am, and we kind of lived out in the middle of nowhere. But we had each other, and we lived on a lake in the Finger Lakes, and we definitely didn't appreciate it while we were growing up there and living there. But looking back on it now, I realize like we had some of the best. Like we just rode our bikes all over. We lived on like about an acre between our yard and our neighbor's yard, and like we'd make up fake campsites, and like I mean all day like we would just play outside like in the sticks, in the dirt. Like we were so creative. Obviously no electronics. I mean, not that I'm that old, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm on the verge of the growing up without electronics. But I mean, and we had a boat and we just grew up on the water, and it was just, I mean, probably one of the like a really, really great childhood. And I guess I'm just a little sad that I didn't recognize how wonderful it was and how
What was
fun
happening.
and how and how good we were at actually playing together and like making stuff up, and you know, hoping the sun would go down. And our parents made us come in. There was kids that would come and visit during the summer, and they'd stay in like these camps that were near ours, and so we get to play with those kids a little bit. And their parents would all be like, you know, at the lake for the weekend partying, and our parents would be like, no, it's 9 o'clock, you have to go to bed. But sometimes they'd forget, and I remember it just being like the greatest thing in the world when they'd forget that it was our bedtime and everything. But
so I forget. What were they doing?
my parents were young.
Oh. Yeah, I forgot. Like that's pretty much how we spent our summers too. We had a ravine in our backyard, and we would build string forts and just be outside. We'd walk down about a mile to the local like pharmacy and get licorice and sunflower seeds, and then walk back. And we were at the pool all day. My parents had it so good. But we would stay outside until like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, playing ghosts in the graveyard and like different fun games and stuff. Those were good times. Joshua said the ones that come to mind for me tend not to be interesting or the big events. It's something kind of dumb that meant a lot to me. Well, it's good that you have things that meant a lot to you. I'm sure they aren't actually dumb.
Yeah.
But feel free to share it with us if you want to.
I mean, I just talked about my fake campsite that I rode my bike 15 feet to, and I got rocks.
I grew up in the woods and loved the fact that, okay, so I loved going on my swing, but it was a vine that was hanging down from a tree. So my driveway is like really steep. So what we would do is back up our driveway with the vine, run down and just swing across the driveway. And like, you know, I mean, we're not talking about being 5 feet off the ground. We're talking about like being like 10 feet, 15 feet off ground swinging. It was amazing.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely interesting, and I love living outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have that here in Florida. Although apparently we do have some like really cool like sinkhole, or not sinkhole, like springs that are underground that are like caverns. I always hear about them, but I saw like a picture of one this weekend, and I like really want to check it out. It's around here in Tampa, and it looks amazing, like from a different world. But anywho, all right, we got to get on my weekly meeting here in a few minutes, and I need to go grab my tea. So tonight's topic for the weekly meeting is we're talking about how to create things without paying too much attention to the assessment. And hopefully people are in the mood to talk. And then we're kind of off for a couple weeks, like I said, because I'm going to be out of town. So I do that occasionally. So hopefully I'll see you all in a few minutes for the weekly meeting with me.
Sounds
Bye,
good, guys.
everyone.
Bye.